I wanted to share one lesson that I learned on this trip. It was completely life-changing. I went to Kentucky and Washington. Long story short, I have several friends that I had intended to visit, and I was really feeling I was on an assignment, which I was. But along the way, God had shown me something about my life, and I actually learned quite a few lessons on this wonderful trip, but I'm not going to share them, unfortunately, this time around. And I think that those are things that I need to share with just certain people and not everybody. And so, sorry. The life I'm living now is the life that I need to live. And I need to get more involved with it and stop trying to change it and stop trying to think that it's going to be something greater than what it really already is. You know, my life is what it is, and I just need to make the most of it. Now, I know that sounds almost like fatalistic, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't strive for better and strive for bigger things, but all I'm saying is that when it comes to my personal life, I know that this is where God has me. I know in this retrospect, I'm supposed to be living the life that I'm living now, but it wasn't really always something that I welcomed. You know, from before I started to really compare my life to other people. You know, I started to look at this girl and see like, wow, she has this great boyfriend. And I started to look at that friend and said, wow, well, she has a great career. And I started to kind of despise my own life, and I placed high expectations on my life. Like I had a vision of where my life should be, which is actually a very good thing. I think we all need vision and to strive for better. And that's not exactly what I'm saying, but I'm just saying that, you know, I started to have unrealistic expectations about my life. The best way I can describe this is that right now, my current perspectives, when it comes to relationships, it's not that I don't want to be in a relationship. I think it's like pretty much established that I want to be in a relationship and I want to get married. However, it's partly my fault because I've also held back a lot because really the guys in my life aren't really that quality. Like I hope people don't like feel like saddened by that or offended by that. You know, yeah. Okay, so with that being said, I never really thought that I had quality guys to choose from to begin with. Like, they're not necessarily there yet, but they're really nice guys. And so, in an essence, I could never really see myself with anybody in this in the current state. So what I used to do is I used to just put it on God, you know, and that's a mentality that actually a lot of people share. They put things on God and they say, well, God, you got to change things according to my viewpoint of life, you know. And so I expected God to change everything. I expected God to bring in that guy, you know, from the mainland or something. You know, I expected God to do things. And so for the longest time, things have really never changed. They've just remained the same guys. And then so I began to really you know, honestly despise that. You know, I began to really just shove it in God's face and say, okay, well, you're not going to do anything about it. So let me do something about it. So that's another mentality that people tend to have. They tend to say, well, you know, my future is in my hands. And if I want a better life, I need to go after it and do things on my own. Like I need to make it happen. And all the while knowing that, you know, God had placed me here. He's put the people in my life that I have. And not once did I ever stop to think that, okay, well, maybe, just maybe God wants me here. Like maybe God is not wanting me to like have these unrealistic expectations, but to see what I have and to work with it. And that used to sadden me a lot. And I used to like not like my life, and I used to not like my current situation and circumstance. And you know, I know that people watching this video, they might say like, well, Lexi, no, there is, you know, people out there, you should go and, you know, believe that and stuff like that. But this trip didn't teach me that. Okay, so I'm just saying that this trip didn't teach me that there was something like bigger out there that I could aspire to. It taught me that the life that I'm now living, that I need to just make the best of it. That's what this trip taught me. It gave me a different perspective on my life. And so, like, I know I'm going to be more active and more involved with the people in my life and the situations and circumstances that are currently in here, because before I used to kind of like desert them and say, well, there's better anyway, so why work on what I have now when I can have better? Lord knows where he's going to take me with this, but he gave me this, and he gave me a word to support this ideology, which feels so contradictory to my um desire of being a dreamer and thinking bigger and thinking out of the box and stuff like that. It's so contradictory, but I just got to go with the flow on this one because this is what I'm learning. He gave me a word in Romans chapter 12, verse 1 and 2 in the Message. And it says, take your normal, everyday, ordinary life, and you're eating, you're walking, you're breathing, you're working, your whatever life, and then submit it, honor God with it. You know, just give it to God. Because what happened was God took me out of the ordinary. He took me out of the familiar, and he kind of thrust me for a week in the lives of other people. And it kind of forced me to look at my own life and go, you know what? My life really isn't so bad. I mean, those guys, they're not really so bad. You know, I mean, it's just like I need to cultivate those things already in my life. You know, if I were just to be faithful for what I have now, who knows where God will take me. And it just took this trip. It took being a part of lives that are outside of my normal everyday living to really realize that. And so I'm not saying that you shouldn't aspire for greater. I'm not saying that for you shouldn't like get new friends, because if your friends are like taking you down the wrong path, yes, get new friends. You know, if your job sucks and you know you can do better, get a different job. But then again, know where God has you and make the most of that time in that season. And I'm pretty sure God will take you farther. But wherever you go, it'll always be familiar. You'll always have ordinary. You know, if I move to Seattle, you know, I'm always going to confront certain things in my life that I'm just going to have to give to God anyway. So why not do that? But anyway, that's what I learned, one of the things. And so I'm going to have I think this is the start of a really new and different season for me. And I'm really excited. And I really want to blog more and do more of these things. But yeah, so thank you. Bye.